lot of people struggle with the decision to buy or rent their home. And the answer is never black and white. It always depends on the market and the price to rent ratio, and then also other things like if you intend on moving soon. So when people who move a lot, it's in their best interest to rent. The reason being is when you lock into a 5-year mortgage or like a fixed mortgage, most of the time they're going to have a penalty for you to break that mortgage early. So any of the equity that you're building in your home by paying down your mortgage and possible appreciation of the home can be erased by the bank taking their profits in the form of a penalty. They do not want you to move before the term is up. So if you intend on staying at home 5, 10, 15 years, definitely it makes sense sometimes to own the home. Now there are times when it doesn't make sense. For example, there's markets like Vancouver where a single family detached home is well over $1 million. So it's better to rent in that market because you're never going to be able to pay off that home on a regular salary, and also it's going to take more of your salary to pay off that mortgage. So you might not have money left for things like food, right? So there's a lot of people who are house poor because they've spent all of their money on their single family home. Another factor that would be good to look at would be the price to rent ratio. So all the price to rent ratio tells us is which is better, buying or renting. And it's a calculator that almost every bank has on their website. You just type price to rent ratio calculator. I'll also have a link below. And basically you can type in the situation that you're in, what you currently rent at, what your expenses are, and then you can type in the expenses as if you were to buy a home. So when you compare the two, what the calculator is going to calculate is if you took the extra money that you weren't spending on the house and invested it in the stock market or invested it to get a return, what the difference in your wealth would be. So a lot of people can take their money and they can grow it fairly fast or fairly easily through their businesses or their investments. So you always have to consider opportunity cost. The third factor is the maintenance of the home. If you're buying a 30-year-old home, now it needs a new roof. The garage needs to be fixed. It needs new windows. You have to factor those things into your prices, because when you're renting, you don't have to pay for any of that. So it's very easy to be a renter because you don't have to take care of anything in the home. You just have to make sure you pay the light bills most of the time, and sometimes that's even included. So those are the three main factors that are going to decide whether it's better to rent or better to buy. Now, in the markets that I invest in, it is much cheaper to be a homeowner than it is to be a renter. Like one of the markets that I'm currently looking at, Cleveland, you can buy a single family home on a mortgage for around $200 to $300 a month, where to rent in that neighborhood, it's $1,200 a month. So you're paying 4 times the amount just to rent. So in that market, you probably want to buy as long as you know that you're going to stay there for a long period of time. You might not want to buy if you're trying to sell in a year, because it would be hard to sell because that market has a lot of homes on the market, so it's hard to sell your home. But if you're planning on staying there, it is much cheaper to buy than it is to rent. Now, in markets like I mentioned, Vancouver, Toronto, it all depends on the pocket or the neighborhood that you're in, because some neighborhoods are way more expensive than others, and some markets are hot and some markets are cold in those areas. So you have to make sure that you're looking at real estate on a local level and not on a countrywide level, which is what most newspapers and television specials show. So please consider the things that I mentioned, and if you have any questions about the calculator or what you need to look at in your market, or if you need help analyzing your market, shoot me an email, support@gskwealthbuilders.com, or at SAMGSK on social media. And that's all for this week's Money Making Monday.